The history of the Flash. Flash, the wisecracking speedster of the DC Universe, is one of the most popular and powerful comic superheroes of all time. Much like Batman and Green Lantern, Flash is a legacy character, meaning there's more than one person to have filled the role. However, it's the Barry Allen version of the character that had the most impact both in the comics and in the real world. In the comics, Barry's inherent connection to the powerful and mysterious Speed Force means that, much like Marvel's Scarlet Witch, he's often been used by writers to reset the universe, or even create a temporary universe so that the writers can disconnect their characters. Outside of the comics, the Barry Allen of the 90s, the Flash TV series, was arguably responsible for the acceptance of DC comic book characters into the mainstream. While the same could be said of Lois and Clark, the New Adventures of Superman, the Flash arrived on the small screen 3 years earlier than the Superman-themed workplace rom-com. This would be followed by Smallville in the early 2000s, right up to today's CW Arrowverse, which also features a Flash TV series. Real-world origins. Jay Garrick, the first Flash, was created in the late 1930s by a writer, Gardner Fox, and the artist, Harry Lampert. Flash's character design was loosely based on the appearance of the Roman god of travel, Mercury. This is why the first Flash had a winged helmet and winged footwear. This, in turn, is why most of the Flash-allied speedsters have small wings on their headgear. He first appeared in Flash Comics #1, which was an anthology comic. Before long, the first Flash was given his own solo series, the aptly named All Flash. Comics would sadly become much less popular after World War II, and so Garrick's first solo series would be cancelled, and the character would disappear for almost 2 decades. DC rebooted the Flash character in the mid-1950s, replacing everything about him apart from his power set. This version was of course the Barry Allen Flash. Jay Garrick's version of the Flash would still exist, but only as a fictional comic character within the DC universe. Barry Allen was soon given a sidekick, a fellow speedster known as Kid Flash, aka Wally West. In the early 1960s, the two versions of the Flash would meet in the Flash number 123 during the groundbreaking story titled Flash of Two Worlds, therefore introducing the concept of the multiverse into DC Comics. Eventually, in the mid-1980s, DC Comics would decide to merge all the different universes together in the first of their many reboots. This was the landmark crossover event known as the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and its storyline would sadly see Barry Allen's Flash heroically sacrifice himself so the others could live. Unbeknownst to the rest of the universe, he wasn't actually dead, just trapped by the Speed Force. Barry's sidekick, Kid Flash, then took up the mantle of the Flash. The majority of the Wally West Flash stories begin with the Flash saying, "I'm Wally West, and I'm the fastest man alive." This quote is often referred to by the CW version of the Flash. It raises an interesting question. Who is the quicker speedster? Garrick, Allen, or West? Canonically, the answer is actually Wally West. However, during yet another DC Universe reboot, Barry Allen returns. Like Allen before him, Wally West would now be the one trapped by the Speed Force. Flash would also cause another DC Universe reboot when he used the Speed Force to travel back in time and save his mother, accidentally creating the iconic Flashpoint universe. In-universe origins. Barry Allen was a young man who enjoyed lazing around and reading comics. His favorite comic superhero was a speedster named Flash, and Allen often fantasized about being the Flash himself. When he grew up, he was a forensic scientist working for the Central City Police Department. One night, while working late, a bolt of lightning hit him and knocked him into a shelf full of chemicals, knocking him out. When he came to, he found that a mixture of electricity and chemicals had given him the super speed that he'd wished for in his youth. Inspired by his favorite comic superhero, he took the name Flash and began fighting crime as a costume superhero. Not long after this, the Earth would be attacked by an alien invasion force. All the major superheroes of Earth banded together to defeat the invading army, which they succeeded in doing. Deciding on the spot to form an official alliance, the heroes formed the Justice League. He would find time along all his adventures to marry the love of his life, Iris West. His nephew, a teen named Wally West, would also gain super speed in a manner quite similar to Allen himself. Wally would become the costume sidekick, Kid Flash. Allen would eventually find himself somehow transported to an alternate reality, a reality in which Garrick was the Flash. Working together, they were not only able to work out how to get Allen back home, but also how to travel between the two universes when required. Guys, that's it for me, but until next time, love the geek. Peace.